You're with her again, aren't you? Claire, frail and tear-streaked, flinched, her plea barely audible. Robert's laugh was cruel, his affair with a coworker no secret. Robert, her father, towered over her mother, Claire, his voice a venomous hiss. You're nothing without me, he spat, his hand raised. The slap that followed echoed, searing Lena's memory, the living room a battlefield, its floral curtains mocking the chaos within. Lena, 12, crouched behind the sofa, her brown eyes wide, her auburn braid trembling, biting her lip to stifle a sob, her small hands clutching her knees. That night, Lena lay awake in her small bedroom, the walls thin, her mother's muffled cries seeping through. Staring at the ceiling, her young mind churned, replaying the slap, Robert's sneer, Claire's brokenness. She vowed never to be like Claire, weak, tethered to a man's cruelty. But those years left scars, twisting her view of love into a game of power and betrayal, where trust was a trap and control was survival. Lena's childhood was a tense dance around Robert's rages. At 9, she saw him shove Claire against a kitchen counter, his cologne sharp, his voice a growl. Claire's silence afterward, her hands trembling as she washed dishes, taught Lena fear. By 10, Lena noticed Robert's late nights, his car gone, Claire sobbing over unpaid bills. At 11, she found a lipstick-stained shirt in his laundry, not Claire's shade, and hid it, her heart pounding, knowing it meant betrayal. Lena clung to small rebellions, drawing in a secret notebook, her sketches of strong women in bold dresses a shield against her reality. Miss Harper, her art teacher, saw her talent, slipping her colored pencils and quiet praise. You've got a spark, Lena, she said, but Lena guarded her heart, trusting no one fully. Robert's abuse wasn't always physical. His words cut deeper, belittling Claire's dreams of painting, mocking her frailty. Lena, at 13, tried to comfort her mother, her small hand on Claire's. You're not nothing, she whispered. Claire's smile was faint, her eyes distant. Stay out of it, Lena. The rejection stung, pushing Lena inward. She befriended Mia, a kind girl with curly brown hair and warm brown eyes, whose laughter eased the weight of home. Mia's family, loud and loving, was a haven, but Lena never spoke of Robert, her shame a secret. When Robert left at 15, his affair consuming him, Claire unraveled. She worked double shifts as a nurse, her eyes dulled, her dark hair graying, her hands shaking as she counted bills. Lena, now 17, emerged striking, with sharp cheekbones, auburn hair, and a defiant gaze. She wielded her charm like a blade, testing it on boys at school, their adoration a fleeting thrill. They were easy, but she craved dominance, not love. She stole moments in Claire's closet, trying on her mother's old dresses, their faded elegance a reminder of Claire's lost spirit. Lena vowed to be untouchable, her beauty a weapon. In high school, Lena's rebellion sharpened. She dated a senior, Jake, a charming athlete, but dropped him when he grew clingy, his neediness echoing Claire's weakness. Mia urged caution at 16, her voice soft over milkshakes. You're pushing everyone away, Lena. Lena smirked, tossing her auburn hair. I don't need them. Mia stayed loyal, her steadiness a contrast to Lena's fire, but Lena's scars ran deep, Robert's betrayal a lens for every relationship. She threw herself into art, her sketches darker, women with fierce eyes and broken hearts. Ms. Harper encouraged her to submit to a local contest, and Lena won, her design, a jagged dress of black and red, praised for its raw emotion. Claire attended, clapping weakly, but Robert's absence burned. By college, Lena targeted older, married men, professors, businessmen, men with wedding bands glinting in dim hotel bars. She relished the thrill of being desired, the power of breaking vows. They're all the same, she told herself, slipping into hotel rooms, her red lipstick a mask. Men cheat. I play the game better. Each affair was a brick in her fortress, shielding her from Claire's vulnerability. She kept a journal, not of feelings but of conquests, detailing gifts, jewelry, cash, as trophies of control. Her first target, Dr. Ellis, a married professor, funded her wardrobe, his lectures dull but his attention intoxicating. His wife's calls interrupted their trysts, her voice shrill, and Lena laughed, but Claire's pain flickered in her mind, quickly buried. At 21, Lena moved to a richer target, Richard, a CEO with a penthouse. He promised trips, but his wife's suspicions ended it, her confrontation at a hotel shaking Lena. She saw Claire in the woman's eyes, fleeing as the wife screamed. Lena visited Claire, hoping for connection, but Claire's exhaustion, her hands bandaging a patient's chart, kept them apart. "You're doing fine," Claire said, her voice flat. Lena left, vowing never to be so weak, her affairs intensifying. Mia, now in nursing school, saw the danger. At 22, they met at a cozy cafe, the air thick with espresso. Mia leaned forward, her sweater soft, her voice earnest. "Lena, this life, being the other woman, it's eating you up. You're worth more." Lena's laugh was sharp, her auburn hair catching the light. "You don't get it, Mia. I'm in control. They want me, not their wives." Mia's eyes softened, her voice firm. "You're hurting people, yourself most of all. This isn't power, it's pain." Lena's face hardened, her brown eyes flashing. "Don't lecture me. You're just jealous." She stood, her chair scraping, and walked out, leaving Mia staring at her coffee. Mia's calls went unanswered, her texts ignored. Lena severed their friendship, her heart walled off, her journal colder, her conquests a shield. At 23, Lena faced a close call when a lover's wife trailed her, banging on a hotel door. Lena fled, heart pounding, the wife's tears a mirror of Claire's. She paused her affairs, taking a job as a barista, seeking stability, but the flirty patrons pulled her back. She had a brief fling with a married bar owner, ending when his wife confronted her, her eyes hollow. Lena quit, haunted, but refused to reach out to Mia or Claire, her pride a prison. At 25, a cheated wife confronted her in a crowded restaurant, tears streaming, her voice raw. "You destroyed my family." The crowd's stares burned, and Lena froze, the woman's pain piercing her armor. That night, alone, she stared at old photos of Claire, guilt flickering. She almost called Mia, her finger hovering, but pride won. "I'm not her," she whispered, pushing the photos away, diving deeper into her cycle. At 26, a pregnancy scare with a married lawyer shook Lena. The test was negative, but the fear lingered, forcing her to question her path. She took a job as a bartender, the late nights a distraction, but fell back into an affair with a patron, his wedding ring hidden. When his wife showed up, Lena left, her journal abandoned, its pages a record of emptiness. She moved to a new city, hoping for a fresh start, working as a retail clerk, but the patterns followed, another married man, another broken vow. She wrote to Claire, a tentative letter, but got no reply, her mother's silence a wound. At 27, Lena met David, a kind-hearted architect with warm hazel eyes and a quiet strength. They met at a gallery opening, David admiring her wit, unaware of her past. His sincerity disarmed her, and they dated, his patience softening her edges. At 28, they married, Lena radiant in a white gown, her auburn hair glowing under the chapel's light. For a moment, she believed she could escape her past, that love could be real, her journal burned, its ashes a promise. She tried to reconnect with Claire visiting the care home, but Claire's frailty and distance kept them apart, her mother's eyes heavy with unspoken pain. But shadows clung to Lena. She couldn't shake the fear that David would betray her like Robert had Claire. Her love turned possessive, her trust eroded by her father's ghost. She checked David's phone, scoured emails, and grilled him about late nights. "Who were you with?" she'd demand, her voice shrill, her auburn hair wild as she paced their modern living room. David, patient at first, reassured her, his hazel eyes gentle. "Lena, I love you. There's no one else." Her accusations wore him down, his eyes dimming, his voice strained. "You're suffocating me," he said one night, his button-up shirt unbuttoned, his face weary. Their marriage frayed, arguments echoing her parents' fights. Lena saw Claire in herself, desperate, broken, and loathed it, but couldn't stop. She took a job as a receptionist to fill her days, but coworkers' gossip about affairs fed her paranoia. She befriended Tara, a cynical colleague whose views, "men always cheat," deepened Lena's fears, their coffee breaks a spiral of suspicion. Lena attended a support group for betrayed spouses, hoping for clarity, but the stories of infidelity only fueled her obsession, her notes frantic, her trust in David crumbling. David's secretary, Sarah, a cheerful woman in her 30s with blonde hair and a bright smile, became Lena's fixation. Sarah's texts to David, work-related, like meeting at 3? Ignited Lena's suspicions. "She's after you," Lena accused, her voice trembling, ignoring David's denials. "I see how she looks at you." David shook his head, exhausted. "Sarah's just my assistant." "You're imagining things." Lena's fear, rooted in Robert's betrayal, blinded her. Tara whispered poison, "You can't trust anyone," her words a catalyst. Lena stalked Sarah online, finding her social media filled with family photos, a husband, a child, evidence Lena twisted into a facade. At 29, Lena's paranoia deepened. She shadowed David's office, watching Sarah laugh with colleagues, her cheer a threat. She hired a private investigator, Carl, a gruff man who found nothing but billed her heavily, his reports of Sarah's mundane life only convincing Lena he was incompetent. She rifled through David's briefcase, finding a photo of him and Sarah at a work event, their smiles innocent but damning in her eyes. Lena confronted Tara, seeking validation, but Tara's shrug, "Maybe he's hiding it well," pushed her further. Lena visited Claire, now in a care home, her frailty stark. "I'm trying, Mom," Lena whispered, but Claire's gaze was distant, her response a weak nod. Lena left, her heart heavy, Robert's shadow inescapable. Lena's job suffered, her desk piling with unopened mail, her boss warning her to focus. She attended therapy briefly, a gentle counselor named Ellen urging her to unpack her past, but Lena quit, unable to face Robert's ghost. She wrote letters to David, unsent, pleading for trust, then tore them up, her fear winning. One night, in their kitchen, Lena confronted David, her voice breaking. "You're sleeping with her, just like Dad." David's face fell, his hazel eyes wounded. "I'm not your father. I can't keep doing this." He walked out, sleeping at a hotel, leaving Lena alone, her reflection in the window a ghost of Claire's pain. At 30, Lena's world unraveled. She lost her job, her paranoia alienating her coworkers, Tara distancing herself. She moved to a smaller apartment, its bare walls a mirror of her isolation. She stalked Sarah, following her to a park, watching her with her child, her laughter a knife. Lena wrote in a new journal, not of conquests but of suspicions, pages filled with imagined betrayals. She called Mia, leaving a voicemail, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Mia. I'm lost." Mia didn't respond, her silence a final rejection. Lena visited Claire again, bringing a photo of them from her childhood, but Claire's memory was fading. Her words incoherent. "I failed you," Lena whispered, leaving in tears. The breaking point came at 31. Convinced David and Sarah were having an affair, Lena lost herself. She followed Sarah from the office one evening, her heart pounding, her hands gripping the steering wheel. In a deserted parking lot, she cornered Sarah, her voice trembling with rage. "Stay away from my husband." Sarah, confused, raised her hands, her blonde hair catching the twilight. "Lena, there's nothing going on. Please, calm down." Lena's fear exploded. She forced Sarah into her car, driving to an abandoned warehouse on the city's outskirts, her mind clouded by betrayal. Inside, under flickering fluorescent lights, Lena tied Sarah's hands with a scarf, her own hands shaking. "You'll admit it," she hissed, her auburn hair falling into her eyes. "Sarah's please, there's nothing between us." Were drowned by Lena's panic. For hours, Lena ranted, pacing, her voice hoarse, recounting her father's betrayal, her mother's pain, her own broken trust, her life a litany of wounds. Sarah, terrified, tried to reason, her voice steady despite her fear, sharing her own story, a happy marriage, a child, to calm Lena. David, alerted by Lena's erratic note scrawled on their fridge, called the police, his voice breaking as he described her descent. Police stormed the warehouse, flashlights cutting through the dark, officers shouting. Lena froze, Sarah sobbing in relief. David's face, etched with shock and grief, was the last Lena saw as she was led away in handcuffs. Prison was a cold reckoning. Lena, now 32, faced kidnapping charges, her trial a media circus branding her a jealous wife driven to madness. In her gray cell, under harsh fluorescent lights, she sat on a cot, her auburn hair dulled, her sharp cheekbones gaunt. David visited once, his hazel eyes hollow, his architect's jacket wrinkled. "I loved you, Lena, but you broke us," he said, sliding divorce papers across the table. He left, and Lena's fortress crumbled, tears falling for the first time in years. She replayed her life, her father's cruelty, her mother's pain, Mia's warnings, her own choices. She wrote Mia, pouring out regret for severing their friendship, for ignoring her wisdom. "You were right," she scrawled, her handwriting shaky. The letter returned unopened, Mia's absence a wound. Lena wrote to Claire, begging forgiveness for her distance, for failing to bridge their gap. Claire's reply was a single line, "I always loved you." Lena clutched it, sobbing, the words a fleeting comfort. Lena saw a prison counselor, Dr. Patel, a stern woman who urged her to confront her past. "You're carrying your father's sins," Dr. Patel said, her eyes piercing. Lena nodded, tears falling, but the weight was crushing. She joined a prison art group, sketching faces, Claire's, Mia's, David's, Robert's, even Sarah's, each line a confession of pain and guilt. Her sketches, raw and haunting, were displayed in a prison exhibit, earning quiet praise from guards, but Lena felt no pride, only loss. She wrote poetry about broken hearts in cages, sharing them in therapy, her voice trembling as she read aloud. Lena befriended Inez, a former addict with a sharp wit, who shared stories of her own broken family. Inez's resilience, her fight to rebuild after prison, gave Lena a flicker of hope. They worked in the prison library, shelving books, their talks a solace. Lena confided in Inez about Mia, the cafe fight, her voice breaking. "I pushed her away because she saw me." Inez nodded, her hand on Lena's. "You can't undo it, but you can learn." Inez taught Lena to knit, the rhythm of needles grounding her, a scarf for Claire her first project, though she never sent it, fearing rejection. Lena tried to change, attending group therapy, her voice trembling as she spoke of Robert's abuse, Claire's silence, her own betrayals. She volunteered in the prison garden, her hands in soil a contrast to her past sterility. The flowers a reminder of life. She wrote to Sarah, apologizing for the kidnapping, her words raw. Sarah didn't reply, but a guard mentioned Sarah had read it, her silence a small mercy. Lena's health faltered, stress and guilt gnawing at her. Sleepless nights and poor nutrition weakened her, her heart racing during panic attacks. Prison doctors dismissed her symptoms, blaming anxiety, missing the deeper issue. Lena saw Claire one last time, a supervised visit, Claire's frail hand in hers. "I'm sorry, Mom," Lena whispered, a photo of them from childhood in her pocket. Claire squeezed back, her eyes wet. "Be better than him." Lena nodded, but the promise felt hollow, her mother's decline a mirror of her own. Back in her cell, Lena sketched Claire's face, capturing her fleeting smile, the drawing her only solace. Inez urged her to keep fighting, sharing her own plans to reunite with her daughter post-release. "You've got something to give," Inez said, her voice fierce. Lena wanted to believe her, but her strength waned. At 33, Lena's health collapsed. During a routine walk in the prison yard, she stumbled, her vision blurring, her breath shallow, Inez shouting for help. A heart condition, undetected amid her chaotic life, claimed her. She died alone, her auburn hair dull, her brown eyes closed to a world she'd fought and lost, her final sketch, a portrait of Claire, smiling, left unfinished on her cell's cot, a wilted flower from the prison garden tucked beside it.